In this episode, I am talking specifically to people who have been in web design for, let's say, less than 3 years. And if you have been in web design for longer than that, please do stick around, because I do think there's some stuff that you're going to learn from this. It's just, I really wanted to reach out and have a chat with you if you are early in your web design journey and just feel like you could use a little bit more support. I really wanted to use this episode to talk to you about my own journey with web design, because as you'll often hear me say, web design is very often a self-taught industry, which means that when we come into it, we come into it for different angles, we come in with different experience, using different tools, and it's really easy to stop and think, I'm not doing it right. Especially when there are more experienced people in the industry who are saying, you should be doing it this way, or my way's the right way. And if you've come across people who have said that to you or made you feel less than, I have an episode of the podcast called Stop Tech Shaming and why there is no space for tech shaming within the industry. And do go and have a listen to that. You can hear all about my own experiences of being tech shamed as well, and how usually if someone is tech shaming you, it is a reflection of them feeling uncertain within their own experience rather than yours. But let's get started on how I can use this episode to support you in feeling more confident and having slightly better practices in your web design career. Ready? Let's get started. So the very first thing I'm going to say is, if you can invest in your web design career, do invest in it. And that might sound a bit crazy because most people would have to invest in their career. If they're a coach, they're going to have to invest in coach training. If they're selling products, they have to invest in the products that they're going to be selling. But web design is a little bit different, and often web designers have really scrappy setups. And by scrappy, I mean they might have a theme license, or they might be working off a free version of Elementor, and all they really need is a laptop that they have already, bit of hosting, and off they go. And that's great, because it means as well that the profits and the margins on web design projects can be really high and brilliant. But there is also a lack of confidence that can come when you don't invest, because to a certain extent, you're not really backing yourself. You're just saying, I'm making this work, I'm making it work, I'm making it work. And it comes down to how we see the money in our business as well. And I've also got an episode about this, about outsourcing within your web design business. It's the episode from June the 1st. Go to websitesmadesimple.co.uk to find it. Now, you might not be in a position where outsourcing is right for you right now, but what the episode does talk about is how we view money in our web design business and how we use that money in the web design business as well. Because we can have this real temptation, especially in the early days, to hang on to every bit of money that we earn within the business and say, right, I need to use that for my salary. But actually, in the same way that you need to kind of spend money to make money, that's very true in this case. And I am all about us working to best practices. When you are investing in your web design business, you want to be investing in some really good themes as well. And those aren't free themes. They might be ones that have a lifetime license in some cases, or an annual license. You might want to bite the bullet and go for like the agency pricing model, especially if they're doing kind of a one-off pricing. But do make sure that you are putting that investment in, because you will get much better tools, much better results, and you will be handing over a higher quality product to your clients as well. And ultimately, the websites that we're building, they are for our clients. You know, once we've finished the project, we step away from it, but they're the ones who's left with it. And we want to be able to say we've left them with a really good product. And at the same time as investing in things like themes, you want to make sure that you've invested in things like your insurance, and you want to have legally compliant contracts. And if you don't have contract and you don't have terms of service, then go along to my website that accompanies this podcast, which is called websitesmadesimple.co.uk, and you will see that I have the website designer's contract pack there. It has every type of contract which is compliant to UK law as well, that will support you in running your web design business. And that might be the actual contracts that you use with clients, the terms of service that you use with clients, but it's also hosting contracts, hosting maintenance, working with freelancers, all that sort of thing. It's all there, and it's a pay for once, use it with every single client. But I promise you, investing properly in the setup stuff is really important, especially in the early days. So the next thing I wanted to advise you is to focus on an area where you can improve or learn every year. So every year I choose something new to focus on with web design. And that might be that I want to build lighter weight, slimmer sites that are smaller on the server load. And so it might mean that I start using new tools or new themes for doing that. One year I decided to go all in on focusing on accessibility, because I absolutely believe that everybody should be able to access websites, and not everyone's going to be sitting there with a keyboard and mouse or a mobile phone. And it's really important that we know that our websites can be navigated through the, what's that word? Not keypad, keyboard. That's it. Okay. I'm so sorry. That our website can be navigated using just the keyboard. It's also really important that if someone is partially sighted or having a website read to them through a screen reader, that we've got things like our alt tags in place, and that the clickable links tell people where they're going to go, all of those things. And then there's everyday accessibility that we don't necessarily think about. So, for example, left-handed users are going to struggle if all of the menus are on the right-hand side. So it's all these little pieces that we learn. And there's just so much to learn. But the more that you nail down and really specialize in a different area each time you go to learn something, and I'm not saying that you should be learning something all the time. As I say, every year I just think I'm going to go all in on something. And that could be your focus as well. But we learn on the job, absolutely. And in most cases, every time we build a new website, we build a better website, we're learning something new. We're stretching ourselves, and just having some solid knowledge to back that up can really help. And this doesn't have to come necessarily from an online course or paid for resources. You can go out there, you can read some blogs, you can look at white papers, you can follow people on LinkedIn who are really well known in the industry. You can listen to podcasts, for example. Someone I work with, Nikki Pilkington, she has a podcast called SEO What? My podcast producer may bleep out the effing in that, because I like to not have explicit content. But her stuff's amazing for SEO, and I listen to it. It releases every Sunday, and I often come away really inspired and then go and action what she's done. But learning about SEO is like pretty much the best thing that you can do for your web design career as well, because having websites which rank highly on Google is, well, A, only a good thing, but B, it's going to have people wanting to come to you as well. When you're in those earlier stages of your web design career, you are still figuring a lot of stuff out through the client interactions and think, oh gosh, I don't want to do it that way, that time, or next time. Or you think, this really worked. I want to make sure I do that again. And that can happen well with onboarding clients, but also with offboarding them. So with onboarding, we want to make sure that we have all the things that we need to get them started and get the project started and running smoothly. And usually a smooth onboarding is going to determine how well the project works. So for example, I always absolutely insist with clients that I have all of the content for their website up front before we start the build. And that means the website copy, the brand assets, all the images, any links they want to link to, for example, Calendly or anything like that, before we get started, because drip-fed content is a miserable experience for both the designer, but also for the client. Clients often, you've got to bear in mind that when they're commissioning websites, they have all of their own work that they're doing at the same time. And so often getting the website content isn't a priority for them. And if you get started before you have this content from them, it's this stop-start disjointed process. You're chasing them up, they're feeling bad, they haven't got it to you, and nobody wins in this scenario. So having a really rigid onboarding process can really support everyone here, because it gives the client the incentive to get things to you. But it also, holding that boundary, makes them feel good about the project, because as much as some clients like to tap in all the time, it actually, when they come out the other side of it, they often say, I just felt like I had to be on the designer's case all the time and I just couldn't relax until it was done. And having that really good process will help with that. And in my web designer's contract pack, I talk about the onboarding within that as well. I've also got some episodes on the podcast if you want to go through the back catalogue around this. I do also have the website designer's onboarding pack available on the website if you want something that's downloadable, that's white labeled, that you can just go and use for your own clients, then you are welcome to go and check it out. So the next thing I wanted to talk about really was about your marketing yourself, because it's all well and good me saying, once the clients come and do this or use this or do that. But if you don't have clients, then it's all going to feel a little bit pie in the sky. And when you are looking at selling websites, you are going up against so many other people. And how do people choose to work with you over someone else? And there's always going to be the know, like, and trust factor in sales. It happens in everyone's sales. And it means that people like to work with someone they feel that they know, someone they feel they like, someone they feel that they trust. And getting known for something within the industry can help build that reputation. It can help you stand out a little bit. Now, some people would say, go all in on the repelling content, be controversial, get known for really hating something or being this or that. And if that's your bag, absolutely knock yourself out doing it. But I would say often people who do that are a little better known within their industry before they start. But it could be that you get known for being all in on accessibility, or you get known for being all in for a particularly popular type of software you use. Or I got very well known for my processes being very strong, that people, they'd get the website that they were promised and they'd love the website and all of that. But most importantly, they would love the experience. And I am really proud of having set that up. And that works for both my web design clients and the web designers who I mentor as well, that my processes are really strong and we've always got that, we've got this kind of attitude to it, and it really helps. So maybe take some time and just plot down some ideas of what you think you're really good at within your industry. It could be that you're really good at fixing problems, or you're really innovative when it comes up with solutions for, let's say, a booking system or this or that, or you love creating custom plugins, or you love the relationship with clients and you want to build on that, or whatever else. Jot down some ideas and then start thinking about which ones of those would you really like people to know you for. So if someone was recommending you, people recommend me and they say, oh, Holly's the one you want to work with for this because you are going to have a great time. If you've been left feeling nervous or let down by a previous developer, you need to work with Holly. And so insert your name here, what do you want to be known for, and start creating some content around that. And I know in the early days that we can think, who am I to say that? It all feels a bit aspirational, but back yourself. No one else is going to. You need to back yourself. So get confident and get doing it. So the next thing I would say is do not worry about what everybody else is doing. And I think if there's anything I would ever be known for, written down for, is that for the last 10 years, I've been advising small business owners who I work with, and more recently, website designers and developers who I mentor. Stay in your lane. Do not worry about what other people are doing. People come to me and they say, who's your competition? So I don't know. I have no idea who my competitors are. All I know is that I am doing my work in the way that I want to do it, with integrity. I am backing myself, and I am not getting distracted by what the competition are doing. I am making sure my focus is fully on achieving the business goals and supporting web designers in achieving their goals. And so often people compare themselves to others. They get absolute imposter syndrome, or they go into a freeze response. They think, I can't do it like that. And often the only difference between you and the other person is confidence, is the other person is just confidently putting themselves out there. So get known for something, ignore the competition, stay in your lane, and just keep putting a foot in front of each other. Collect reviews. There's so many times we don't do this. If you think, I have built hundreds of websites, and if you look at my Google, it's got 42 reviews or something. So I remind myself of this at the same time that I remind you. Ask for the review when you hand over the website. And I do this, but I often just don't follow it up. And so I'm going to use this as a note to myself to actually follow up some more recent website builds and ask them to leave me a review. Because leaving a review for someone lets other people know what the experience has been like, what they can expect. And obviously it goes towards credibility. On slow days on LinkedIn, you can post a nice photo of your review. It is only good things. So I have a line at the end when I hand over the website stuff. Say, if you've enjoyed working together, please would you consider leaving me a review? Here's the link to do that. So I make it super easy for people to do it as well. What I should do is follow up a few days later. So get reviews, because also it's really good when you're having a day where it just feels a little bit overwhelming, or, it's not coming together. You can look back through those reviews and think, no, I do know this. I have got this. And the final thing I'd like to leave you with today is consider getting a mentor. Often we think that we will go for mentorship when we can afford it, when we've made enough money. And often we're never in the early days going to feel like we've made enough money or that we can afford it. We, as I said earlier, and in one of my previous episodes, that we look at the income that comes in and think, oh gosh, I've got to save that for a rainy day, or I've got to put this over this many sessions, or we allocate it in our mind. But actually, there is a real thing with mentorship, with it pays dividends on doing it. And every time I have leveled up in my business, I have worked with a coach or with mentors, because there are blind spots that I can't see for myself. That's why they're called blind spots. And there's stuff that I don't necessarily know how to do. And yet mentorship and coaching can come at all different levels, with all different levels of experience in the coaches and the mentors, and at all different price points. So I think when I first went for coaching a few years ago, I think it was £2,000 for 3 months or 4 months coaching. When I wanted to set up my web design community, I went to work with different mentors, and it was a 6-month program, and it was over £1,000 a month. But what I learned on that and the support I had on that, I have gone on to make a lot more money in my business because of it. So it can feel really nail biting. You need to work at a price point that works for you as well. But it's really important that you do make that investment, that you do learn from someone who's been there, who's done it, and who can guide you in how to do it, because it can help you shortcut the areas that you might really be struggling with, or areas which would really knock your confidence. I mean, there's all times where we've thought about leaving the business because we've had a client who's just been too difficult or whatever else, and having someone in your corner can really support you with that as well. And getting a mentor, getting coaching can absolutely pay dividends. Needless to say, I do mentor and coach new website designers and developers. So if that's something you think you might like to have a chat about, do get in touch. I would love to hear from you. If there is anything you would like to add to the list of what we've covered today, or anything you would like me to cover on the podcast, do get in touch. I would love to hear from you. I answer and reply personally to everyone who comes in. And that might be that you have emailed me through hello@websitesmadesimple.co.uk. It could be that you've dropped me a DM on LinkedIn where I'm there as Holly C. Christie. Or you can even go onto the website at websitesmadesimple.co.uk and you can fill out the contact form, or you can even drop me a voice note through there as well. So that's it for today. And until next time, take a breath. You've got this, and have a great time in your web design career.